Here in the music hall after the third day of GuitCon. I'm doing my short speech and then we hit off the panel talk. I wanted to remind you guys, I got few complaints today about it's being too loud in the hall. So please do not crank up the amplifiers, okay? Other guys want to do videos and stuff. And of course, guitar amps always crank through and destroy videos. Okay, so please do not crank up amplifiers. Thank you very much. So now we're here for the panel talk and David Walliman is hosting this one. Very good, yeah. Louder.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. We're going to talk about making big bucks with money online. Hopefully. So I have a few people that I'm going to call on the stage here. This is going to be a short one tonight, so we can jam. Maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we'll see. I'm going to call Louis, Tone King, if he's in the room. Tone King. Teach us how to make money. I'll just go down the list. If he shows up, great. Jamie Lewis. Give it up for Jamie. Yeah, either. Welcome. Michelle, are you going to join us? From Guitar Goddess. Welcome. And then we have Mike Bradley. I think I saw him earlier. Welcome, Mike. Tone King, last call. Lewis, Tone King, maybe you went back to bed, just like yesterday. And I did too. Sure, if you want to join us. Steve is joining. Okay, awesome, great. I think it's a good, good panel. Okay, sounds good. Well, welcome everyone. So tonight is about the weird job that we all have, and the cool thing is that I'm sure we all have different jobs because making a living online means so many different things, and I'm excited to learn about all you guys and see how we can make it better, hopefully. We'll see. But I thought we'd start with, maybe we can go down the line and just briefly introduce yourself, your channel, and then maybe a tagline for a channel, what your thing is about, what your channel's about.
Hi everybody, my name is Michelle Arsenault. I run a YouTube channel called Guitar Goddess. I thought that was kind of easier to remember than my last name. But also to pretty much inspire the inner goddess within female guitarists out there, but really to inspire anybody that wants to learn guitar. So I mainly teach beginner, intermediate acoustic guitar. And I'm also leaning into teaching myself lead on electric guitar, which a lot of you have actually been really amazing and helping me out here at GuitCon, and I've really appreciated that.
I got one, I'm good. I'm Jamie Lewis. I run a website called thebassist.net, which is just a subscription-based lessons website, and my YouTube channel has a lot of performance videos, lessons, and pretty much anything else.
Hello, my name is Mike Bradley. My YouTube channel is called Mike Bradley, and I do from teaching to reviews to generally just playing. And I suppose just spreading the guitar music joy, love, and if I can earn a living from it, even better.
My name's Steve. Online, I go by Samurai Guitarist, and my tagline would be guitarist / songwriter / samurai.
Yeah.
Ich komme aus Amerika und ich heiße Sean Daniel. How was that? Pretty good. My name's Sean Daniel. I have a Sean Daniel YouTube channel. I do pretty much, same thing. Lessons, videos, whatever. Just keeping it light, keeping it fresh, keeping it moving. That's what we're doing. Keeping it real, more importantly. That's about it. Thank you.
And I guess I don't want to be, I'm the host, but I also want you guys to ask questions, so don't hesitate. Because some of you saw me writing questions over there 5 minutes ago, so feel free. And for those who don't know, I teach theory, improvisation, guitar stuff online too. All right, so my first question, and I thought we'd mix it up tonight. We'll go like all the way over there, and then you'll take that answer, and we'll do zigzags like that. All right?
Cool. I like it.
All right. So my first question is, where does your income come from? And it could be multiple things. Just briefly, how do you make money?
Sure. So it really is kind of like almost a pretty even third split between the YouTube ad revenue and other YouTube opportunities, private instruction, and then performance. And, you know, it kind of varies. Some months might be a little bit more in one way, but it is kind of a third each. So.
Don't you love that question that is, can you make money on YouTube? Or
I should have asked with that. Do you guys make money?
how do you make money on YouTube? I had this the other day. I went to the doctor. I had a slight little ailment in my wrist. And I was like, I'm here for a reason. And he just kept on, so wait, you make money on YouTube? How do you do that? Doc, check out my wrist. This is why I'm here. Anyway, what was the question again?
Where does your income come from?
Right. I guess now it's not, what I think was maybe a more interesting question to that is where did it come from 2 years ago when I was just at a small YouTube channel? And so what I did, I really tried to figure out a way to utilize what I was doing to generate revenue in a more traditional sense. And so I treated YouTube as kind of my platform for advertising other things that I did. One of those things was guitar lessons. At the end of every instructional video, I'd say, hey, if you guys want a personal lesson with me, hit me up at this email address. And so that opened up a lot of doors, and I could charge a bit more because they were actively seeking me out. And they weren't just parents trying to pawn off their kids for half an hour. These are people who wanted a guitar lesson from me. And on top of that, I used to use a thing called Fiverr. And Fiverr is just a service you go online and the concept is you pay $5 for a digital service, but can be branched out quite a bit. And so I used that and I sold my guitar services. And I did a lot of recording projects for people, and you got to figure out how to price it right and all that stuff. But it got to the point where that could have been a fully sustainable business, being a Fiverr session musician. It eats away at your soul, but you can do it. And on top of that, things like Amazon affiliate links. If you've got another product you can sell, which might be your book or whatever it is that ties in. Once you have an audience, once you have a fan base, you can use that to monetize what you do.
Yeah, I'm very similar to what you're saying. You know, I try and think of it as many different avenues coming in, so that when one dries up, I've still got some kind of money coming in. So, I mean, if I just relied on YouTube, it ain't gonna happen, you know. But from YouTube, you know, I've got like Skype lessons, things like that. So that's one thing, and then I teach as well. And then I'm fortunate enough to do sessions here and there, from studio stuff to live. And then sometimes get like the TV gigs come in, but that's just miming. But miming's where the money's at. And then like the corporate gigs and things like that. So basically, any way to earn money as a guitar player, I think I've done it. You know, good things and bad things. And then obviously from building a following on YouTube, started doing lessons on my website. So then people who watch the lessons for free on YouTube, if they wanted, they can then come to my website and buy stuff that way. Not buy stuff. Well, of course they're buying stuff, but get lessons that way. So yeah, it's hard, but once you get that following and people like you, it's amazing that people kind of want to start to invest in you a little bit, you know, and support you. Because I think a lot of people realise it's hard to be a musician. You know, take away the YouTube thing, just being a musician, which we all are, and that's the most important thing, is very, very hard, you know, in any year, if it was 1968 or 2018, you know, so that's me.
Nice. My main source of income would first come from performance. So I'm a touring musician, music director and tour manager, and then supplemented with thebassist.net. So, you know, income just coming from students and merch sales.
So I'd say my income primarily right now comes from Patreon. I definitely don't rely on the YouTube AdSense. I feel like that's kind of a death sentence if you don't do a ton of original content. I do a lot of song tutorial lessons. And so basically with the YouTube AdSense, it's kind of split 3 ways. So I get a cut YouTube obviously gets a cut, and then there are the royalties. So if I teach a song that was written by somebody else, you know, they deserve to get the royalties for the song that they wrote. So basically, I would say as a YouTube musician, you probably make about a fifth of what a normal YouTuber makes. So I started a Patreon to help supplement some income, and what I do is I make guidelines to follow any lesson videos that I do, and I find that a lot of people find that type of content valuable, and they're willing to pay for it. And I have different tiers. I have a tier that starts off at $1, $3, $5, $10. And what's really cool about Patreon is it's like this really tight-knit community of super fans that want to support you. And sometimes people will pledge to you without even expecting anything in return. They are so grateful for the content that you already put out for free on YouTube. And I found that being on the platform for about 2.5 years has been really great. You get a check every single month, which is really nice. But then I also have income that comes from working with brands. And that's been really great to just develop relationships with brands that I personally love. And it's great to have an ongoing relationship like that. And, you know, brings in the money. You can keep doing what you love for a living.
Cool. For me, I'd say it's lessons, primarily lessons that are off of YouTube, but YouTube is a platform to bring in the fans who hopefully will buy later on. It sounds like I'm done. Thank you. No, I'm done. No, I just have a few more questions here. All right, this one is more, I don't know if it's going to talk to everyone here, but I got 2 little kids, and it's very, very difficult sometimes to balance that. I'm curious to know if you guys have some tips, tricks to balance work, which is also our passion. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't our passion, and either family or, you know, friend, whatever you want that is not work. Have you struggled with that? Do you have any things that have helped you manage both of these important worlds in your lives? Any words of advice?
Well, I'm definitely not in your situation. I'm not married or have kids, so I don't have that. But, you know, I think being online and being a online personality, sometimes it's kind of like it blends into your personal life. Do you guys ever feel like that, where it's like you don't know when to, like, kind of clock out kind of a thing? It's not like a normal 9 to 5. So it's kind of crazy like that. So I did have a point where it was kind of stressful because I just felt like I was always just kind of like on all the time. And I had to find a way to kind of give myself freedom away from it and kind of unplug a little bit. You have to kind of balance that out. But then to touch on another point that you were talking about, maybe like obstacles that kind of get in the way a little bit. Yeah, like sometimes I would say, I mean, there'll be times where I get invited to, I don't know, a family function, or my friends want to go out or something like that. And it's like, oh, I have a video I need to work on. I need to get it done. And it's like, you kind of have to make a balance because you don't want to take away from what you could be experiencing and having fun out with people that you want to hang out with. But it's like you're just so passionate about what you do. You want to get it done. So you have to figure out a balance. And I think I've definitely got that figured out now. It's taken some time, for sure. But you have to allow yourself to have fun, too, and have a personal life and unplug.
I am married, and the way I do it is I just block out time, man. My mornings are for exercise and taking care of whatever I need to do, answer emails, and do whatever. And then I work from 1 to 5. Sarah comes home at 5:30. We're done. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because I, for one, I don't like saying no to anything, and I find it really hard to, like you were saying, switching off. So sometimes if I've got like a personal engagement, I don't know, someone's birthday or a wedding or something, and then a gig will come in, I'm like, I can't say no because I don't know where the next paycheck will necessarily come. You know what I mean? It's very hard for me to say no. Or regarding YouTube, I'll be up late editing, and my girlfriend will say to me, just chill out. No, I'm like, nah, I've got to get it done because then tomorrow I've got to think of the next thing I've got to do, be it learning songs or a YouTube thing or whatever, any kind of scheme, I can do. So, yeah, I do find it really hard to switch off. I mean, I went on holiday a couple of weeks ago, and I think that was the first time in a long time where I relaxed. You know what I mean? I was just kind of in the pool, and I can't, years since I last did that. But then it got to the end, I'm like, right, I haven't earned any money this week. You know, apart from a few people bought stuff on my website, I was like, yes, you know, I've got something. But then I'm like, right, let's get the mortgage paid. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think one of the things I try to do is I block out times where this is times that I'm not working. Kind of like what Jamie was saying, but the opposite of that. Instead of saying I'm working from 1 to 5, I'm not working at 10 o'clock on this day because I have this other thing that I'm doing. And for me, I play hockey and soccer once a week. And so those are just times I know I'm going to have my socializations there, going to log some times with my friends, going to just take my mind off it, and yeah, just having time set aside to get away from it. And just I know well in advance, so I plan my life around those things.
So you're not scheduling your work time, you're scheduling your off time.
Yeah, because if I don't, then I just work.
No, that's
through
wise.
it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, really. I mean, when it comes to being like a content creator, one of the great things about it is you kind of can set your own schedule for when you're inspired to make content. So it could be early in the morning, could be super late at night for some people. But yeah, just like aside from like the recurring gigs I have, everything else is kind of liquid. So just like you said, like you have to schedule like an hour a day is going to be either exercise or, you know, kicking it, playing basketball for a little bit. But really, like you said, it's almost like the opposite, where the appointments is the personal time, and then really everything else is just kind of like keeping yourself open for creativity or content creation or whatever you end up doing.
Well, my next question, you guys kind of answered. I think it was the biggest challenge, but it seems like making that split is a challenge, scheduling time. So I'll skip to the next one. I'm curious about, because we are the business, as we're people, but we're also business. And do you have any words of advice? What do you do? Do you use your own name? Do you use Guitar Goddess is not your name, so is that intentional? Like, any thoughts on that? Would you use your own name or a business name for that?
I definitely use my own name, and I have like no problem with it. But I think a lot of that is because like I feel like my chances of getting a team of stalkers is pretty low. And also not having like kids is another issue I don't even have to like deal with. So I'm kind of like custom built to handle all the kind of like hate that comes at me, and I kind of sickly enjoy it. So that's why I just kind of like go by my own personal name.
Now I'll add a twist to that.
Yeah.
To all your answers. One of the reasons I'm asking is that we're passionate about videos and all that stuff, and we're building a business. But you know, when I'm 80, I'm not going to want to do videos, and so I'm just wondering if you're thinking long term, like when you want to retire, whatever that means, can you retire under your own name or not? And maybe you can. Some brands have done it, but I'll just add that to the twist. I don't need an answer necessarily if you don't have one.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely
it's a thought.
An interesting thought, and that's not something that's like even in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I'm such a grinder that like I'm not even thinking about what's happening next. Like everything just comes at me so quick. It's like, oh crap, I got to go to Germany tomorrow.
Yeah,
like
right,
I should pack at some point.
Or I got to host this live stream.
Yeah, exactly. So
which was planned weeks ahead. I know.
So yeah, like I'm gonna retire. I'll just die eventually, and hopefully my legacy will live on and inspire the people of the future.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
So I don't use, my name is out there, but I go by Samurai Guitarist, and that was very intentional from day one. I thought, okay, what can I do to build a brand? What's an interesting brand? Steve Onatera is just a guy's name, but a samurai playing guitarist. I was kind of thinking, well, that's something that one day when I do merch, that sells itself in a lot of ways. That's easy to design that. There's a lot of shtick that can come with that, and it's fun to me. So, yeah.
Well, hearing that, I kind of wish I did do a brand name. So, but it's interesting because it was a couple of years ago, and this company approached me. It was like an online teaching school, and they wanted me to be like a franchisee. Is that the correct?
Works for me.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'll get on board with it. And they wanted to pay, X amount of fee to kind of join on. And the money's, they take a percentage, and that's it, And then, so I joined up with them, and they wanted me to be by the phone all the time, but the phone wasn't ringing. And I had a week worth of gigs coming to go over to Nice. So I took it, and then I told them I can't do it, I'm going away for a week and whatnot. And they got a bit pissed off. And I was like, well, I'm not earning any money from you. I've got to earn some money. And then we kind of had a Skype meeting and whatnot, and they said, we kind of realised that you are your own brand. And that's made me think, well, yeah, Mike, I suppose I'm Mike Bradley, the brand myself, which is kind of weird to think of it like that, but I think you kind of got to be if you're self-employed a bit. But then what you just said, David, about when you're 80, and, you know, I mean, I'm not old, no, I'm 30, well, I'm 34, you know, I'm getting there, I suppose, but, you know, I think, as you just said, you know, what happens when I'm 64 or 74, you know, like, do I want to be going out doing the same old gigs I'm doing now, or doing YouTube? Hi, Mike Bradley here, here's how to play a pentatonic scale, or whatever, you know. And it is daunting, you know, I mean, I haven't got a pension or anything like that. Even my mum's saying, why have you not got a pension yet, Michael, you know. But it's scary, it's a bit daunting, because, you know, it's like October already. It's like, what the hell is this year gone, you know? And so as the years roll by, it makes you think, I kind of should start being a bit sensible a little bit, you know. But yeah, no, I kind of wish, after, like I say, hearing you, I wish I did, I don't know, the hair brand or something I could have called myself. I don't know, you know, just something other than my name. So I have to kind of rely on Mike Bradley, you know.
I like it. I always just went by Jamie Lewis. I think that is actually the YouTube channel name. I didn't even know what it was, honestly, because I'm a musician first and foremost. So if an artist asks, like, hey, I need a bass player, do you know one? I'd be like, yeah, I call the bassist. Like, no, they're not. You call it Jamie. You know what I mean? Like, that's the name that goes around. So I didn't rebrand the site and all that to thebassist.net until I think 2016. It was about a year ago. So all the content's the same as everything that I had for years, but it's just, you know, it's been rebranded with a new label and a new logo. So yeah, so I've never put any thought to, you know, having my name tethered to it and in fear of, you know, stalking or anything like that. I'm fine with it. You know, it's totally cool. Yeah, they'll be there. Yeah, no, it's all right. And then as far as, you know, worrying about the future and what that looks like, I mean, I just try to take care of that outside. 10% of my income right off the top goes into investments, and you know, you may not have a pension, but you can invest in 401ks and stock market, mutual funds, and all that kind of stuff. So I know I'm a bit young to talk about retirement, but it's important to do for the exact reason you're talking about, because yeah, you don't want to get to that point and go, oh shit, now what? You know, so it's important to think about early, you know.
So my channel did not actually start off as Guitar Goddess. When I started YouTube, I was actually just posting covers, and it was this really embarrassing username, Michelle Sings at 89. I don't know how that kind of came about. That's what it started off as, and unfortunately, that is my forever URL. But when Google Plus came around, they allowed you to kind of change your channel name, which was really cool. And so I'm like, what could I change this to? I'm like, guitar something, Guitar Goddess, yes. And so, I don't know, I just really didn't want to go by my name. I like that it kind of gives me a little bit of privacy. That is kind of nice. I like that. But I do get some flack for it. And you know what? You got to own it. You got to own the brand. And the thing is, there'll be some people, a lot of people understand. They understand the whole Guitar Goddess thing, but there'll be some people that come on my videos and they're like, Guitar Goddess, you must think that you're some amazing, just over-the-top guitarist out there. You must think you're so great. You must, you know, you're so full of yourself. And I make a point on my channel to really just show that I don't think that of myself. I actually did something kind of scary earlier this year. So I'm known for teaching. I'm a rhythm-based acoustic player. That's my comfort level. And that's what I've been teaching for several years on YouTube. And so I did something very vulnerable and very risky this year. I put out a video of me playing electric guitar and just sucking horribly at it. So basically, like I said earlier, I'm trying to teach myself lead on electric guitar. And I wanted to show people that no matter what level you're at, no matter how much experience you have, you can still feel amazing doing what you're doing. And so I want my audience out there to just be inspired. And so I really feel that the Guitar Goddess thing is amazing. I have a lot of females that really resonate with it, and I think that's cool because the guitar community, I think as we know it on YouTube, doesn't have a lot of female representation, and so they bond to that, and it's really cool. And then I have a lot of dudes in my community as well, which is amazing because I didn't think a lot of guys would want to follow my channel because I started off teaching a lot of Taylor Swift, but I branched out a little bit.
My all-time favorite.
Yeah.
No, that's
So,
great, yeah.
but so that's the brand. But as you were also inquiring about the future, I've definitely thought about that because ever since I was really little, my dad's just kind of ingrained in my mind to just save money for the future, be prepared. He was kind of skeptical at first about me doing YouTube full time. He was like, well, how are you going to make a living doing this? You don't have a company that's going to give you insurance or a 401k. You know, you don't have a security net. So it was actually kind of a struggle at first to kind of prove it to him. And he's very supportive. He's so supportive. Now he's just like, he's always asking me, how many subscribers do you have? Or like, who are you working with? Or what video are you doing? He's a huge fan. Not that he wasn't ever before, but he's just always been like, you need to think about the future. And so he's helped me with like investments and things like that. And just making sure that I'm set up for the future, so that way, you know, I can retire successfully. But I think I'm in the works right now of creating evergreen content, products that I can sell, and I would definitely like to grow as a brand and have a line. And so then hopefully one day, if I feel like I want to, I can retire.
Yeah, definitely. This is a good segue because I was thinking about, so we're talking about the future. Most of our audience is from YouTube. That's where we gather the customers and all that. Here's a scenario. YouTube stops tomorrow, dead, doesn't exist anymore. Do you guys have a backup plan? Any ideas? How do you continue your business without YouTube? Do you have anything in mind? And maybe it's no, but I'm curious.
So this is something I've definitely thought of. You should definitely not put all of your eggs in one basket. And so I think it's important to grow across many social channels. So I've also been using Instagram quite a bit. And then more so getting into Twitter too. I think Twitter is still very much alive. And I'm trying to do the Facebook thing because I've noticed some really great things for business on Facebook. I'm still trying to figure that whole thing out. They've done a lot of changing on the platform. But definitely not putting all your eggs in one basket on YouTube, because what if it does go away one day? What are you gonna do? So the one thing that I am working on right now is building a home base for myself, my own social media platform, AKA a website, because that you have full control over. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can set up an algorithm and take away chronological order or whatever. There's no likes or any engagement type analytical data. It's just, if you can drive traffic there and have customers, it's all yours. It's all yours, and so that's what I'm working on right now.
That's good, yeah. Jamie?
Yeah, that's precisely what I do. My very little of my content is on YouTube. The majority of it is hosted on a private server at thebasis.net. So if YouTube went away tomorrow, I would have less people coming to thebasis.net, but yeah, I'd be fine for that reason, exactly, yeah.
Oh, I would certainly, I mean, regarding social media, I would say the next best thing to YouTube is Instagram, I think, for people like us. Because it's a video thing, but it's that 1 minute, you know, what can you do in 1 minute, you know? And so I would certainly do that, but you're still under someone else's umbrella. They can check, when everyone talks about the algorithms and stuff like that, you know, you're still under their umbrella. They can change everything anytime. So just like you two were saying, having your own website, yeah, you won't get as much traffic as, you know, having X amount of followers and views, whatever, on YouTube. But at least, like you just said, you're in control, you know. And then personally, just like with Sean, I don't just do YouTube. You know, I teach guitar privately, and also my main thing is as an artist and also as a session player as well, you know. So I still have that to fall back on, you know, because I still class myself as a musician who happens to base his living on YouTube, you know. So yeah, just still my craft, but yeah, I'll definitely take stock what you two are saying about the website, definitely, for sure.
I'd like to say sorry, I thought of something just quick. I think also you have to keep in mind that if you did it once, you can do it again. And it's not just YouTube, but I mean, I had a professor in college, Dr. Kopsky, who had 2 doctorates. They were both in music. They were both in the same exact field, but he got one in another country, and when he came to America, they stripped him of it. So he just got another doctorate. So he was a professor, and then he had nothing, and then he was a doctorate, and he's a professor again. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I mean, it sucks that he had to do it again, but
You just do what you have to do, and you know, if you have the strength to get through it, you'll have the strength to do it again, and you'll figure it out. Maybe it won't be YouTube, maybe it won't be music videos, but it'll be something because you're good and you know what you're doing. You know.
I'm very reliant on YouTube, and I need to be more on top of this.
And you know, I got just the words for you, my man. Because I think a lot of us will say that we're YouTubers, but that's actually wrong. And I think sometimes there's almost like a confidence thing that like maybe this all could just be taken away. But I think something that like a lot of us don't realize, especially if we've been doing it for a while, is that you're not a YouTube creator. You're a content creator that uploads to YouTube. So you know, even though if it just all disappears tomorrow, all the skills that you've had for however many years, months, or whatever, you're still gonna have those skills. You know, I think most of the people up here, the personality more so than even like a lot of like the skill and the presentation is what like has built an audience, you know. So kind of like you guys said, that those people will follow you. There's going to be some way to connect with the people that you know, and there's always going to be a way to like translate those skills into any other area of life. And that's the cool thing about YouTube is like you hone so many different skills at once. And kind of like the spirit of this panel even is the entrepreneurship, and how it's not like I'm not just getting good at playing. I'm not just getting good at editing video. I'm not just good at always like thinking outside the box, coming up with creative ideas. It's a little bit of everything. And I think like what better training ground could there be to really kind of like launch into any other facet of the workforce. So I think all these skills are something that you know, a prospective employer would find really valuable, and just having events like this to network and like make other connections in case there is like a different direction we want to go to. Like most of the week I've been really trying to like bro down with Andy Pitcher so I can be Red Panda employee number 5 if things don't work out. So that's just kind of my thought on it.
Oh, that's great. I'll just add to all this emails. I don't know if you guys use them, but that's been a very big key to my business, collecting emails, because you can use them later on, unless email goes down in the world, but hopefully not. Well, yeah, right. Right, no Gmail. All right, we're going to keep it short because we're going to jam tonight, but I have one last question. For people who are watching this and kind of want to live the dream we're dreaming, who kind of want to do what we're doing in one way, do you guys have a tip? Or if you could look back to young you starting this thing, so, could you tell yourself something? Don't do this. Like just a tip.
Well, maybe just something that people don't realize is when you are on like a scheduled content creation type, you know, schedule, it's something that you're for me personally, I'm always thinking about it. It's not really like a 9 to 5 thing, even if those are like the work hours. It's just like anytime you're out doing anything, like there's inspiration all over the world that you can like gather. So if it's more than just all right, send up the cameras and like doing stuff. So much of what I do for my channel, like the work is just being inspired and kind of like just trying to come up with ideas and just like maybe seeing things in a different way, and then just trying to figure out how to like put that into like a video form that you can kind of like connect with somebody. So I think something that I just didn't even really anticipate when I first started out was like most of the job to me is just coming up and thinking creatively. The actual like once the camera's on, the hardest part has already been done. You know, it's just like you just get in the routine, make a video, edit it. Like I almost feel like I can do that in my sleep at this point. Like the hard part is just having the idea, and then once you have the idea, it's just pure execution. And like any other profession, if you're good at it, the execution is the easy part. It's kind of like the prep that goes into it. And I think from a creative standpoint, that prep work is just something that is always happening.
I think a big part of it for anyone who wants to get doing this is you just got to get doing it. You just got to get into the game, because you're never going to gain the skills you need to really do it at a high level until you start doing it and you make those mistakes and you learn all these little aspects of video editing. I know for me, like I never wanted to put anything out until it was perfect, but then I realized no matter what, it was never going to get to that level. So at some point you just got to take that jump and then do everything you can to make that thing the best thing you can. Learn from that, do that again and again and again. And it's that process that teaches you those huge life lessons.
Yeah, I've had some good friends of mine who are phenomenal guitar players, really, really good guitar players, and they've said to me, I've thought about doing a YouTube channel and start doing a YouTube thing like you, but there's so many other YouTube channels, what's the point? And I was like, well, I think a lot of times people, you know, you subscribe for that person, their personality, That's why, you know, like you just said, you know, everyone's got their own different personality. And that's the main reason, you know, we all subscribe to different channels. And it's because we like that person or that brand or whatever, you know. So, like you just said, you know, just do it, you know. And then, yeah, it's weird talking to a camera on your own, you know what I mean? But I mean, I'm just, like we all are, we're just so used to it, you know, just push record and do it. But regarding if you want to really get into it is the consistency, you know, like our favourite TV shows are on what, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, say at 7 o'clock. So you want to think of it as a TV show. So you want to be on, you know, Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And then the more you do it, you don't even have to keep saying it. People know you're going to be on at 2 o'clock because they, you know, a regular viewer, they know to tune in because this is the new TV. You know, kids, they came from school. You know, when I was at school, you put the TV on. Now they put their iPads on or computers, whatever, and they watch YouTube. That's what they do. Their subscription box is full of their new TV shows, and they sit and watch that. So that's what I would say. Treat it as a TV show. If you're doing one a week, if you're doing one a month, just do it the same time on the same date once a month, you know. And the more you do it, your personality will come out, you'll be more confident, and you'll be a millionaire.
I could be a millionaire? I'd say, I'll say two things. The first one is that the why is just as important as the how and the what. So, like, I look at it as like, why did I get into music? Why did any of us get into music? No one's answer is money. No. Right? I mean, all of us, like, we're infatuated. Well, hopefully your answer wasn't money. If so, you're in the wrong industry. You know what I mean? Like, you like music first and foremost. That's why you picked up the guitar or the bass or the drums or whatever it is. And then after you've been playing for a while and you got good at it and it led to something, led to another thing, you're like, oh, I can make a living with this, you know? But that wasn't reason number one. So I'd say first and foremost, if you're going to do something, it has to be because you just love it, you're passionate about it, and you would do it anyways, even if nobody paid you for it. You know what I mean? In fact, like, my first gig that I got paid for, I was 23. Up until that point, I paid money to gig. You know, I went to school. I gave them thousands of dollars so that I could play. You know what I mean? Like, it's backwards. So that's what I'm just saying, is the why is the most important thing. So just make sure you're really, really passionate about it. Otherwise, you're going to hate doing what you do eventually. And the second thing, what was it going to be? Oh, the second thing I would just say is just try to capitalize on try to capitalize on things that you're just going to do anyways, right? So, for instance, I'm wearing a shirt that I made. So when I do my videos, I got to wear clothes, don't I? Right? So I might as well make it a shirt that I produced, and then a little card pops up and says, hey, you like the shirt I'm wearing? You can buy one right here, you know? Right. Like, exactly. Like, why would I wear somebody else's shirt and advertise for them when I could just do that for myself? So, like, the more of those types of things you can think of, like, I was going to do this anyways, how can I make that work for me? Either monetarily in a sale or just like a piece of content that goes out there with a hashtag that, you know, does something. Just try to make everything that you do work for you in as many ways as you can.
I really love the first part about what you said about the why, because if you have the passion, that's the fire for you to just start and keep going, even though there's hurdles and obstacles along the way. And I also love ditto to everything everybody on this panel just said, because they were all well thought out answers. Something that I would really like to add is, on an entrepreneurial level, give without expectation. Don't look at every single opportunity as, how can I benefit from this? How much money am I going to make? What am I going to get out of this? Give to your audience. The first, I want to say, 4 years that I was on the YouTube platform, didn't make a dime. And I wasn't even looking to do so. It started off as a hobby that transitioned into a career for me, which I consider a blessing. I'm very thankful for that. And so I think just starting off that way, it's never been about the money for me. It's just turning my passion into a career. And so definitely give without expectation, because the thing is, all of your content on YouTube is free. And so I will have people that approach me in email or DMs on Instagram, and they will ask for a guitar lesson, and they will assume that everything that you kind of do is free. So kind of becomes tricky when you want to pitch something, a sale, and I would suggest not trying to make a buck right away if you start a YouTube platform. Kind of just give value to people and genuinely give value to people. I feel like if you're passionate about what you do, you'll just give without expectation, and you'll want to help people out there just better themselves or better whatever skills that you're trying to help them with. And I think if you do it with a genuine attitude and you're just passionate, I feel like there's no reason why you can't succeed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having all of us.
Good evening, everyone in the internet. We're going to jam now, I think. Some of us are.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, seeing that you guys all have your own like brand names and/or personal names, do you guys all have your own LLCs with this?
I do.
And why not?
I do.
I don't, but I've been researching on there, and I'm going to be in the process soon of developing into that. I think when I was just kind of really small starting out, I just didn't think it was much of a thing, but definitely doing your taxes and stuff like that, I imagine it's kind of a little bit easier to do it that way. The whole tax thing has been kind of a hurdle with this. It's been a huge learning curve, let me tell you.
I just hire someone. You have to.
Yeah, I kind of have someone that helps me and do all of that stuff, and yeah. Does anybody else want to?
Oh, I'll jump on it, yeah. If it's like a limited company or something like that, certainly not. But, you know, luckily my old band manager's an accountant, so he kind of helps me with my tax and stuff like that, you know. But that's another big thing is being self-employed, tax. And you know what I mean? Like, and I've been saying to a few people, just, got my first property and that. And then, before, he'd be like, yeah, if you declare everything, you don't have to pay as much tax. I'm like, yeah, boy, everything. I'll just buy stamps, class as tax, And then, of course, it comes to buying something, and then on paper you got X amount. And it's like, well, no, I have earned this. And so then you end up getting a big tax bill, because then you declare everything, So if that's the answer to your question, that's the only thing. But then no, I don't have that.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but I think that might be an American thing. Because both me and him both looked at each other and said, "What?" MLC. I don't know.
It could be. Yeah.
LLC.
Incorporating.
Oh.
I think it's like
It's an American.
Yeah, limited.
LLC. Yeah, cool.
Limited liability.
God save the Queen.
I'll tell you one thing about taxes. Canadian tax laws are not friendly to the self-employed. Oh man, that was a shocker.
There's taxes in Canada?
Yeah, how do you think we pay for our health care?
Independent contractor is how I file. But honestly, it is something that you should think about. Like there's, I don't know, like Marty Shorts is a great example of, like one of the OGs who kind of had a bad run of not really being prepared, of being in control of his own identity. So I do think it's something that, should be thought of. I'm kind of lucky enough that I have people in my family that are better at finance stuff than I am, that I can just kind of, like you said, like my uncle's an accountant and he, files my stuff as self-employed. But I have not seen an advantage to doing like an S-Corp thing or an LLC thing, but I think that probably is a little bit different for everybody, depending on kind of the content they produce and stuff like that.
I was going to add one thing that I just kind of thought about that tied into an earlier discussion about brands and maybe things you might have thought of doing differently. I thought about maybe at one point it might have been better to do, instead of branding myself as the guy who does the YouTube channel, maybe have something a bit more not personality based in the name, because say one day I don't want to do this anymore. I can't sell my YouTube channel to someone else who will be the next samurai guitarist. Instead, maybe if it was just hypothetically the music theory channel or something else like that, never branded as I am the channel. It's more of an overarching idea. One day, if I don't want to do it, I could sell it to someone and they could do what they wanted to do with it. But that's just not an option when you are the entire brand. So just a thought I had on that front.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say when you were asking about the LLC, yes, but not for this company. I own a brick and mortar school just outside of Los Angeles called the Lewis Music Academy, and yeah, that is an S corp, and so yeah, everything gets funneled through that. Save on taxes, and there's a whole bunch of benefits for it. But for this particular business, it's just not advantageous yet. A lot of people make the mistake of making that jump too early, and I think it varies by state. California is a really shitty one, so you just got to check with your tax preparer, and you have to, give them a whole bunch of documents and all the numbers and stuff. Be like, hey, does this work? Is this a good idea? And hopefully they'll be able to help you out with that.
Good question. I don't know if we really have time for any more questions, but if we do, if we don't, we're done here. Thanks so much. Let's play.